Welcome back to the JumpifyLabs Podcast, the show for founders who want growth without the guesswork. Here we talk about the systems driving predictable growth, and today's guest has been coaching leaders long before smartphones, apps, and AI has reshaped how we work. Elizabeth Saunders is a globally recognized time management coach who's helped people on nearly every continent build systems that hold up no matter how quickly the world changes. Elizabeth, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
The pleasure is all mine. Let's kick things off. So you've been a time management coach since 2009. What originally led you to that work?
Yeah, so originally I actually had a different business. So I was in the magazine journalism field and was doing writing, editing, and photo styling for about 50 different magazines around the country. And loved the work, was really grateful for it, and was completely stressed out and overwhelmed because I had no schedule and no sense of work-life balance. So I was meeting friends for coffee during the day, but then coming home from a business networking event and feeling like I should answer email at 10:30 at night. And so after a couple of years of this, I was like, enough is enough. If I can never stop working without feeling guilty, I don't feel successful, even if I seem successful on the outside. So I started to figure out how not to work at night, not work on the weekends, have better work-life balance. And my entrepreneur friends were like, this is amazing. I did not come at this being like, I'm going to be a time management coach. I was just like, I have issues I need to fix. And they were amazed that it was possible. And so they actually encouraged me to start coaching others. And that's what led me to beginning to do time management coaching in 2009 as really one of the first time management coaches in the world. And now I've been doing that for 17 years.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wishes they had more time. So you have nonstop supply of people who definitely need your help. And you coach people across nearly every continent. What patterns are you normally seeing?
Well, what's really, really interesting is even though I've done every continent except Antarctica, really the issues are all the same. People are people and time is time. So it's not like you see a huge difference between the United States versus Asia versus, Australia or anything like that. So what I see as really the core issues are a few key things. And of course, there's massive amounts of nuance to this. And this is why I work with people the 3 to 6 months, but we'll hit the highlights. So first off, the first major reason that people have anxiety is they don't have a good trusted system. So they don't have a place where they keep track of all their tasks in a way they can trust. They don't have an up-to-date calendar, and they just don't even know what commitments they've made or what they need to do. And of course, that's anxiety producing because at any moment you're worried that some fire will pop up or something will be forgotten that you need to get done. So that is absolutely just number one, having a system you can trust is a good data set. Number two is a lot of people just don't plan. So they have a very reactive versus proactive life. And so what that looks like is that they are just like, oh, what's coming up on my phone or what's on email or what meetings on my calendar. And then at the end of the day, they're like, what happened? I didn't get anything done that I needed to get done. And I spent all my time in all these different ways. And so they really need to flip the attitude from having just that I'll do whatever comes my way to I'm doing what I decided was the right thing to do at this time. And then the third area that I see people struggle with around the world is really on follow through and focus. And this has only gotten more difficult. When I started in 2009, I know it's hard to believe, but we didn't have smartphones the way we do now. We didn't have this proliferation of so many apps and things to do. And I can tell you, no matter how much they're like, oh, this will help you be more productive, everyone's gotten more stressed out. It's gotten more difficult. So it's just with increased complexity, it becomes harder and harder to focus and have, again, that proactive, this is what's most important right now that I'm going to be doing. I know that because I have a data set I trust and I took time to really plan and think about it.
That's really good. And one of the questions I was going to ask after this, but you answered quite well. How the landscape has changed since you first started, because the phones, it's this thing that's just constantly pulling our attention. And if we're not focused and disciplined enough, we're going to allow ourselves to lose that focus. But then there's also the coming of productivity apps, left, right, and center. So there's also that. There's new methodologies that come out just so we can capture and focus our attention. But you answered the question. Basically, it's just really gotten worse.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think there's like a few different ways to look at this. So smartphones have definitely made things worse. I would say if we're looking at it in the balance of like, are people more productive and are they more focused? I would say no, because there's this addictive device where, yes, there's apps that help you be more productive. But as we all know, there's incredibly popular apps that are designed to take as much time as possible. Something that's a little bit different on the AI side of things. So in some instances, I have found absolutely like using AI for research or certain kinds of applications is saving people time. So I think it has the potential to really increase productivity. That being said, we have to, again, I think it's always this like temptation. Then it's like, oh, but I'll explore all these things I could do with AI, which I wouldn't have explored otherwise. And then I feel overwhelmed because I'm trying to do 100 new things. So it's this give and take of technology is great and technology is horrible all at the same time.
Yeah, I know for sure. It's both a blessing and a curse. People who are for people who are high performing founders, executives, what symptoms would tell them that their time system is breaking down?
Yeah. So what I've really found, and with talking particularly about like high performers or executives or people running their own businesses, is that your time management and how you manage your time is different at different phases of your career and business. So what might have been an absolutely excellent time management system when you were starting out or even mid-career will not serve you when you're more advanced in your career. And that's why, so I've written three books. The first is with McGraw-Hill and the second with Harvard Business Review. And both of those talk about time investment in the title. And the reason for that is if you're a high performer or you're an executive, you're going to start noticing things break down because no matter how organized, how efficient, how focused you are, you can't get it all done. And to take things to the next level, it goes beyond what I just said of like having a good task management system and planning. You need to be ruthless in terms of your prioritization of what's in and what's out and what you're going to do or what you're not going to do. You need to delegate dramatically in terms of anything you can give to other people, you're giving it to other people. And you need to make time for really what matters most and what will move the needle strategically. And so, things are breaking down when you cannot keep up no matter how focused and proactive you are and or you're staying too much in the tactical and not really elevating to that strategic level that will allow you to continue to excel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a hard lesson to learn, especially for founders who are so used to doing everything on their own. And there's a little bit of mistrust and saying that no one's going to ever do it as good as I can. So the delegation part is absolutely key. Now, you have frameworks. I don't want to go too deep into your frameworks. I'm sure you have multiple for different stages, but somebody who wants to take control of their calendar, what would be maybe an overall overview of the steps they would take?
Yeah. So to start out, you just need to make sure your calendar is up to date. And I know that sounds very basic, but a lot of people are trying to hold things in their head. So they're like trying to remember when's their dentist appointment or random meeting or that sort of thing. So just don't. Like, don't have anything in your head. Like, just put everything in your calendar. Secondly, you really want to evaluate whether what you have in your calendar makes the most sense. So I'm working on an article for Harvard Business Review right now that touches on this topic. And if you're a high performer, high achiever, you really want to go through and ask yourself, okay, we've got this status meetings for this particular project. Do I need to be a part of this? Could one of my direct reports go to these and then report back to me on what's going on? Or could AI take notes and then I read the notes? Or do we need to even have a meeting at all? Like, could this be communicated in some other way? So each part of your schedule, you want to go through and ask yourself, is this the highest and best use of my time? If it is, great, keep it. But shrink it to as short as you possibly can in terms of the meeting length and as infrequent as you can to still be effective. And just really analyze and clear your calendar. Then from there, it goes back to that proactive. So once you've gone through the process of making sure your calendar is complete, really auditing it for any ways you can increase efficiency or effectiveness with your fixed expenses, then you want to go to what are my key projects or tasks that really need to be accomplished, and put those in your calendar. A lot of my clients will have recurring focus time in their calendar, and then on a weekly or monthly basis, slot in like, okay, I'm working on project A or I'm working on initiative B, and make sure that you have decided what's important. So when you have that time in between meetings, it's not just getting sucked up by like email or Slack or like random drive-by meetings. And so those are the basic steps you need to do to accomplish that. And so much of it is just stopping and thinking instead of just accepting like someone sent me this invite, so then I should go because I'm not booked in some other way.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too. It's really the thinking part and kind of the answer to the question. But my question I was going to ask was what makes any type of routine, any type of system hold up during seasons when it's unpredictable, right? Like, because end of the day, life is happening around us and there are things that are pulling our attention. Some of them are important, some of them not. But let's say we introduce some variance into the schedule. What makes the routine or the system hold up during those times?
Yeah, great question. So, unless you have an extremely boring life, it will not be static. Like, there definitely will be like things that happen and pop up. And if you're like a founder or a high level executive, it's just not going to be boring. That's just not how it is. So, there's a few critical things that I think help your systems hold up even when there's variation. So, the first is I'm a huge advocate of just basic self care routines. Like, trying to go to bed at a consistent time, getting up at a consistent time, having a consistent exercise schedule, like anything you can do to just make sure you're sleeping, exercising, and eating is so important. And it sounds really basic, but that's the just foundation of being productive and effective so that you're not overwhelmed and stressed out and making bad choices just because you're tired. Then from there, I talked about weekly and monthly planning where you're looking at all your priorities, deciding what you want, and getting into your schedule. But on a daily basis, I encourage clients to recalibrate. So I personally do my daily planning usually in the morning, but some of my clients do it at the end of their workday or right before bed. And that's a time for you to reevaluate based on the current reality. So maybe you thought on Wednesday you were going to complete project A, but some huge emergency popped up on Wednesday that you had to deal with. So when you're then doing your daily planning for Thursday, you're going to look at that and say, okay, I was planning to do XYZ, but this other project did not get done on Wednesday. Do I now move it to Thursday or do I stick with the plan that I already had for this particular day? And so your daily planning is the opportunity to recalibrate and to make choices about what the next day looks like, as well as in the moment, make choices where you're like, okay, this is what I had in mind. This thing popped up, seems like a fire, but isn't more important than what I had planned. If it is, then go for it. If it's not, then you're going to stick with what you have planned and then delegate out dealing with that fire to someone else.
Yeah, definitely. I'm curious. We're talking about time management. We all wish we had better time management. But let's say someone implements a system or even just some kind of routine for themselves. What's the outcome? What changes for them on the back end of installing the system?
Yeah. So a number of things. One is I definitely see less anxiety because a lot of anxiety and stress is caused by just not knowing what you need to get done or not knowing how you're going to do it. So that's like number one. Number two, I see people be a lot more productive. So actually making progress on the projects that they said they were going to do instead of constantly putting them off and then feeling guilty that they're just not doing those key things. They're just bouncing around. I see people be healthier, so getting more sleep, getting more exercise because they're not up late, like working or even pulling all-nighters, trying to get everything done. And then I also see improvement in their relationships. A lot of times people come to me because their husband or wife is upset that they're stressed out all the time or working all the time or late all the time. And when you can show up in a better way, it really helps often with the personal relationships or family life.
And what's a big transformation? I want to give you the opportunity to share the cool things you've done, but what's one transformation that you've seen in a client that maybe comes to mind, something you're super proud of?
I have client, I'll change his name just for confidentiality. So we'll call him Tom. And when he came to me, he was feeling really overwhelmed. Business was really good. Like he had lots of clients. So there was no problem like in the business development side of things. But he was constantly feeling like his clients were following up with him before he was reaching out to them. Like he was not on top of things in terms of that. He was feeling like while he was in meetings, he also needed to be reacting and responding to messages. So he was kind of paying attention to the meetings, but then also replying to other people. So not completely present and like just constantly multitasking. He was working more hours than he preferred to work. He had a young daughter as well as was married. And just again, he was successful. So it wasn't that he wasn't successful or didn't have a business that was thriving, but it was just anxiety producing every day because he was hoping he didn't forget things, always fell behind, and then always had this sense of like wanted to be with his family, but wasn't really present because he was thinking about work and everything that needed to get done, or was he going to forget like what he needed to do? So through working together, we were able to help him just settle down everything that he was doing. And one of the key shifts that he made was actually better boundaries with clients. Because part of why he was feeling so chaotic is anytime a client contacted him, them thinking they had some emergency, even if it wasn't quite an emergency, he would just like drop everything and talk to them. And part of that was guilt because he felt like he was like kind of behind on something. So he needed to like bend to whatever people wanted because he didn't feel like he had his stuff together in terms of moving forward. So we started out with just being like, okay, you have to have time when you can get work done when you're not in a meeting, whether it was planned or ad hoc, with other people. So that was the first step of just having people schedule with him and then also just not taking the random calls all the time out of nowhere and letting it like flow up his schedule. So that was the like creating safety so he even had the opportunity to be able to get work done. Number two was really the planning part. So he did not have a comprehensive system before of what he needed to do. So he did that and started to actually think through like what do I need to get done this week so that I'm getting things done for clients before they're asking me, or not like right before the check-in meeting that we're about to have. And so he started to do that. And so then he was just having less anxiety and less pressure and less feeling like you need to work late. Because if you're always feeling behind, you don't know when things will get done, you're letting yourself be interrupted, you're not effective. But he was starting to get client work done, get it done early, so that it wasn't something that he needed to be worried about last minute. And what that did was he started to work less hours. He felt like he was delivering better customer service to his clients, way more present with his wife and family. And he actually had more time for business development and being proactive. So caused his business to grow because he had the space for that. And so it's really interesting to see how oftentimes when people are overwhelmed, they feel like, oh, I just need more time. I just need more time. But actually, what you need is to make better choices about when and how you're giving your time to others, and then what you're doing with the time that you have.
Yeah, I like it. Deleting anxiety for one sounds like a great thing because a lot of suffer from anxiety. And then, of course, giving them more time because we all want that. We all want more time. And it basically, that's what you're gifting your clients by going to the work with you. All of a sudden, they have more mental bandwidth and actual space to take care of what's actually important. I mean, that's a killer tagline. You're exactly buying more time. Let's pivot a little bit towards 2026 being around the corner. What's next for you in the new year?
Yeah, so in the new year, I do a group coaching program at the start of each year called Time Management Made Easy. So I am really excited for kicking that off. I work with one-on-one clients all throughout the year. So quite busy right now with serving all those people. But what's fun about Time Management Made Easy, it's a cohort of people that are all on this journey together. So I am doing the group coaching as well as the individual coaching that is part of that. But having people from often all over the world share their insights, share their thoughts, share their struggles as we're working through the material is really encouraging and helps people to have that support and not feel like they're the only ones that are struggling with their time management. So super, super excited about that kicking off. And then also just continuing to learn and grow and now being a mom of two and an entrepreneur. So I have owned a business since 2005. So over 20 years, I've been a business owner and 17 years of being a time management coach. Uh, but only as of the last like for 4 or 5 months, I've been a mom of two little girls. So I have a 2-year-old and a 4-month-old. And I am just so excited to enjoy this coming year with them as of course I'm also growing my business and doing all of that.
So, where can people find out more about your upcoming cohorts or just find out more about working with you, Elizabeth?
Yeah, absolutely. So the best place is my website. So it's reallifee.com. So that's RealLife and then another e.com. You can find out about one-on-one coaching. And if you click on group coaching, then you'll also be able to find out about time management made easy. And we'll be so excited to have you in the group.
All right. Well, thanks so much for sharing some of your methods and your systems with us. There's a lot more into this. I know we talked about this as well. We talked about GTD and how fixed systems like that they work, but if you're trying to have something specific for you, of course, the custom one-on-one approach is a lot better because we're all different. We're all individuals. So thank you so much, Elizabeth. If you're listening to this and you want to hear from more leaders like her, share about how they're pushing the envelope with their methods, their systems to improve different parts of their lives and in their business, be sure to tune in to Jumpify Labs for more. My name is Jay. Thanks so much. We'll talk again soon.